everyone, it's Jade from Boho Bookworm. How the hell are ya? Today I'm going to be doing the horror book tag. It was originally created by Hey Little Thrifter, and I saw the video from Stephanie from That's What She Read, so I figured that I had to do it because horror is something I've been getting really into lately. The first question is, how and when did you get into horror? So to be honest, when I was a kid, I used to be obsessed with the Goosebumps series. I didn't read many of the books, to be honest, back then. I was more of a Jacqueline Wilson fan. Who are you? Why are you being? Meh, fuck 'em. I did, however, love the Goosebumps movies. From there, at a very young age, I guess my fascination in horror just grew. But for a while, my reading taste was really weird because I grew up on the Jacqueline Wilson books, so I loved her. And I guess like the more mature version of Jacqueline Wilson would be Colleen Hoover. So I love Colleen Hoover. She's an autobiography author for me. While I was still in school, I had a bigger love for romance and contemporary books than I did for thrillers, which is now my everything. I can't read romance anymore, or contemporary, or fantasy, or anything. Like, it's just give me all the domestic thrillers, psychological thrillers, crime. I love it. It just feeds my soul. I have, however, been dipping my toes into horror lately, and that is very much because of the girls who had the podcast Books in the Freezer, Stephanie and Rachel from the Shades of Orange as well. Question number 2 is, what is the first horror book that you read? So I guess initially it would have been Goosebumps. I have read a couple of them, but not many. And then, The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty, maybe? Question number 3 is, what horror-related goodness can we expect from your channel? While my channel is predominantly about thrillers, you will see me on the hunt to find that one horror book that is actually going to petrify me. I am searching high and low for it, guys, because I have read quite a number of horrors in the past year and a half, and so far I haven't had that real scare. So I'm just after that. I want a book that is going to scare me shitless. Challenge accepted. The next question is, do you have any favorite themes or subgenres in horror books? So I would definitely say like hauntings and possession vibes. I love that in a book. Or if it's like a couple on a road trip, or even friends on a road trip, and they end up in like the isolated cottage vibes, like dig it a lot. Name an underrated horror novelist. I think I just need to skip this one because I haven't read that much horror, and those that I have read are because they're quite hyped up. So I'm just going to skip it and go on to the next question, which is name an overhyped horror author, and that will have to be Stephen King. The next question. This is so hard for me. Recommend 3 of your favorite horror authors. The first 2 that really came to mind here were definitely Paul Tremblay, who wrote The Cabin at the End of the World and A Head Full of Ghosts, and the other one is Josh Malerman, who wrote Bird Box. To be honest, while I have been exploring with authors in this genre, this may be a really unpopular opinion, but I haven't really found many horror authors that have blown me away. Take, for instance, Joe Hill and Stephen King. Like, I don't like their books. I'm not a fan of that. But Paul Tremblay, I really like The Cabin at the End of the World, because while it did have the paranormal vibe, which I'm not so super sure about, or like, not really paranormal, but better example would be Josh Malerman. While that does have the dystopian feel to it, which I can't do in a book, don't give me dystopian, they were so engaging and so fun. But for the most part, when I try and discover a horror author and read their book, most of the books I've read in the horror genre get about a 3-star review from me. I haven't found many that have really just blown me away. Recommend a book for someone who is new to this genre. I can definitely say that you should give Bird Box by Josh Malerman a go, because I was really not expecting to like this book as much as I did. It was dystopian, and from the premise I was just like, oh god, like I am not going to enjoy this. it blew me away and I gave it a 5-star review. So if you don't know what it is, then I don't know where the flip you've been, but it's like explaining Bird Box to someone who's been living under a rock would be that something has happened in the world where if you are not blindfolded, you are at risk of seeing something outside which turns you completely mental and you end up killing others and yourself. So it's really, really dangerous. So you have to live with this blindfold on and stay indoors. But it only affects people that are sane. So those that already have like a mental disorder, they've already seen the worst of the worst in their minds. So they're not affected. And it's this woman, the Netflix movie is played by, what's the actress's name? I really don't like her. Sandra Bullock. And she's got these 2 little kids and they've got to go find this sanctuary where they can live safely and happily. So it's their journey to get there, and it's a great book. Flew through it and definitely exceeded my expectations, so highly recommend that one. And considering I just spoke all about the movie Bird Box, the next question is, has there been any book to movie adaptations that have really basically blown you away? Again, I've seen a lot of horror movies, but I haven't read many of the books, so the one I can say that I actually did enjoy, and considering I just said Stephen King is not for me, I really enjoyed the adaptation of The Shining, the movie with Jack Nicholson. I heard they are remaking it, and I'm really excited to see that because the chick from the old movie The Shining it made me cringe. She was awful, but Jack Nicholson I think did a really, really good job at acting in that movie. So yeah, I really enjoyed that, and the book wasn't too shabby either. So I think Stephen King is a bit of a hit and a miss for me. So like, obviously if you're anywhere familiar with my channel, you know that I could not stand It by Stephen King. I loved his book on writing, even like a memoir of the craft, even though it was a bit cocky and arrogant. But the guy knows what he's talking about, let's be honest, and gave me a lot of advice. The Shining I did like, actually, like I was surprised. So next question is, how do you discover new or new to you horror books? And predominantly this would be through the Books in the Freezer podcast, which I mentioned earlier and which I kind of seem to be mentioning on most of my videos lately, so I should get paid like promotion from these guys. What was the last horror book that you bought? So this, I don't know why people seem to have a problem with this, but I get given a lot of books from publishers and authors, so I honestly haven't bought a horror book, I don't think, ever. They just get given to me. I'm very lucky, and I know that, but I am thinking of buying a copy of I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid, because I have been wanting to read this book for years and years, and it's not available on Audible, it's not in my bookstores, and I just can't freaking wait to read it because I've heard great things. Although I think it might have been April from Getting Higgy With It, who also really likes like horror and thriller vibes. I think she said that she really didn't like it, but the girls from the Books in the Freezer podcast, Stephanie and Rachel, I think they both really liked it, and just in general I've heard really good things. So it sounds really creepy. It's about, I think it's like a couple and they are on a road trip, which sounds right up my street already, and they take this unexpected detour which lands the girl up in an isolated high school with seemingly no escape. So that it just sounds freaking perfect for me, and I have to get my hands on it, and the only way to do that is if I actually buy myself a physical bloody copy of the book. So need to do it. And that basically answers the last question, which is, what is the book on highest up on your wish list? So that's it, that's a tag. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any horror books you can recommend for me that really frightened the socks off you, because I am interested to know. Have a groovy day, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!